guest on the show today is Mr. Arvind Singhal, Chairman and Managing Director of Technopak Advisors. I would like to share with our viewers that we've been friends and we've known each other professionally when his kids were going to school. The difference is now his grandchildren are going to school, right? Known you for that long.
Always a privilege, Nikunj.
Known you for that long.
Always a privilege.
Your kids were in school first time I met you. Now grandchildren are in school. Is it correct?
It only shows how old I am. I don't know about you. You look the same anyway. But
How you been?
I've been good.
The general sense.
Some other separately time. Some changes are happening in our company.
Okay, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Talk about it.
But there's a view in the market that the worst behind value retail is over. The encouraging guidance from a V-Mart, the kind of store expansion a D-Mart is doing, the fact that the rate cuts would kick in, all this is added up to perhaps a comeback year for value retail. That Sasta Sundar Tikau, if I may use that word. Is that Sasta Sundar Tikau trade or consumer back?
So, Nikunj, firstly, let's look into a trend line as opposed to the short-term spikes, which could be up and down. I'm more interested to see that what is the trajectory as far as value retail per se is concerned across categories. This is where I've been very surprised over the last 3 decades almost, that why many of the very, very intelligent, very smart marketers somehow have been talking the story of premiumization over the opportunity in the value end of the market there. Now, what is now giving even more momentum to the value end of the market, including value fashion, value FMCG, value consumer appliances and durables as well, is some factors we should see that how the consumers' disposable incomes have actually gone up fairly significantly, which is not necessarily reflected through the gross per capita kind of indicators. There are 2-3 factors. Firstly, we should look into household incomes, and the government is now finally starting a household income survey. It's the right way to look at it because if a typical household in India is 4.4, the household income actually now has got multiple income earners rather than only dual income earners. There's still joint families, blah, blah, blah. One house rent to pay, one kitchen to run. When you look into the indirect impact of 800 million individuals getting free food for the last 4 years, all of that money which has been saved, which would have gone on basic needs like a food, is available in some way to spend on something else. I'm also in a very, very strong proponent of it may be politically motivated, but the direct money transfers, largely Behnas, largely this, largely that, whatever else, it doesn't matter. If a couple of 100,000 crores rupees have also gone directly in the hands of beneficiaries, that money is also coming back to market in terms of spending. Net, the purchasing power, even at the so-called bottom of the pyramid, let's say the bottom 250 million households, is fairly significant and they're very well spread out. No surprises that is now beginning to see and show up in some kind of a steady growth, both in terms of volume and value for the value-oriented, value-focused brands and retailers.
What will be the comeback category? Could it be apparels? Could it be fashion apparel? I mean, could it be apparel? Could it be consumer durables, or could it be pure vanilla staples, FMCG, soap, shampoo?
See, apparel always will remain for a country with our demographics and the absolute number of size, a very, very, very significant category. The good news to me, I would say, may not be so good a news for Trent, but the good news for the consumer at large is that Zudio is now the aspirational model for almost everybody into the fashion retail business there. Difficult to copy, but a lot of people are trying to emulate that. The next category, which I personally see very exciting, if somebody can crack it, is the value footwear. Now, again, Trent, I read a report last week from a presentation, 27 million pairs footwear they sold. Again, value price, 400 rupees or something is actually average selling price. Footwear is another category which can go from unorganized to organized, but the value end of the market there. And I still think that value end of personal care products is the next area to break. Skincare, beauty, fragrances. There are some players in that market. I think that that market is ready and ripe for disruption there as well.
So if Arvind Singhal has to buy a stock for his retirement in the retail space, which one would he buy? And if he has to gift a stock to his grandchildren where they can create wealth like Trend has created for you, like other, some of the retail stocks have done for you, what would you gift her? What would
You're
you buy
asking a
for?
very wrong person.
What would you buy for retirement first, and what would you gift your grandchildren for their retirement?
Okay. Okay. Let me just talk about themes, not a specific company, because companies come and go, competition comes in there. A theme which is oriented towards mass consumption and value. Therefore, I'm not even using the word value, just the mass of the market, the belly of the market, all those terms there. But a model which is scalable to pan India rather than only top 15, 20 cities. I would be very excited about such companies, irrespective of what space they are in. And by the way, on a separate subject, I'm very bullish. If I had to give for my grandchildren, stocks in medical category, not the services side, product side, medical care, consumables in medicals, home care, all of those things are categories which are going to become phenomenal for India. Technology is going to aid them there. So grandchildren, medical theme, but products and appliances and consumables for myself, anything in the value end of the market.
Mr. Singhal, hi morning. This is Snehi also joining in the conversation. Earlier, we've seen the trend that the bottom of the pyramid did not have a lot of discretionary income to spend, even if it was on value purchases. Now, with this entire tax cut we've seen more spendable income in the hands of the bottom of the pyramid as well. How does this translate for value retail going ahead? And what's your view on the kind of demand that we're seeing from tier 3, 4 cities?
So firstly, my view is bottom of the pyramid is not benefited by tax cut. They are not in the tax bracket. That would be the middle income strata, which is in any case has already played out in some way. I still believe that overall dispersal of economic activity across the country, whether to the government spending on infrastructure, whether it is the religious tourism, for example, they're creating new areas of consumption. Ayodhya is just one example of Varanasi, which also creates its own ecosystem as such there. So net, what has changed over the last 10, 15 years, we always wanted to address the bottom of the pyramid. On the income side, like I just said, if you just take the spending on food out, you take also reduce spending on because of Ayushman Bharat on healthcare, then you also start to look into some of the direct beneficiaries across women of select other such recipients. All of that put together is giving, let's say, maybe to a typical bottom of the pyramid household an extra 5,000 rupees a month to spend on discretionary. But if you're looking at 150 million, 200 million such households, it translates to, in aggregation, a very large amount of money for us sitting in Delhi and Bombay. 5,000 rupees extra per month in the hands of our bottom of the pyramid household may not look big. It accumulates to a significant amount of spending. So I would give more credit to this, but not so much to the tax cuts which were announced in the budget. I think that benefit is already played out there. It's a very small base of the taxpayers who have benefited from this in the larger scheme of things.
High growth categories, there was one point in time, for example, I'm using just for the benefit of our viewers to elaborate it. Packaged food was a high growth category before it hit a mature curve. Deodorants were a high growth category before it hit a mature curve. Female hygiene products were a high growth category. Now they are growing in line with India GDP. Toothpaste was a great growth category 20 years ago. For next 3 to 5 years, which are the high growth categories in India which will grow at a significant premium or at a significant rate higher than India's nominal GDP?
So, Nikunj, I think I have a small disagreement when you're saying that some of these categories have hit some degree of a steady but not exciting growth. I still think that there is disruption. I just talked about it a short while ago. I think in personal care, skincare, health and beauty, there is a need for a Zudio equivalent to come and disrupt the market. Retailer, not the brand I'm talking about. It is possible to source many of these products at a value price within India, but you need a retail business to disrupt rather than the tiras, no offense meant to any of those companies, there, or the likes there. The same thing goes even in terms of packaged foods. Again, in terms of packaged foods, if you look into there, why is it the Haldiram growth is not necessarily slowing down? The perception is their value price compared to, let us say, some of the products from Tata Consumer. I have nothing against Tata Consumer. Please don't misunderstand. I'm just trying to give examples of a Tata Consumer or ITC packaged foods there. They might be showing some degree of plateauing of a growth, and therefore they have no choice but to look into inorganic growth through acquisitions that are very, very premium product. I think the opportunities in the categories you talked about still remains. The new categories I just mentioned about footwear, in any case, it's an exciting category to be in because it goes very well with the fashion and the clothing end of the market. And I think later on, and there are some challenges there which have to be overcome. I still think that home furnishings and let's say furniture is a category which unfortunately has not been yet cracked in India in an organized way at the value end of the market. There are supply chain challenges there. That would also take place in the next 5 years. So yeah, these would be some of the new categories: home textiles, home furnishings, and furniture and hard goods for home.
Arvind sir, thank you so much for taking the time out and speaking with us this morning. Really appreciate that.
Thank you very much for having me over. Always a privilege. Thank you.